Yo, what is up guys? It's your boy Mootzy back at it again with another Dragon Ball Super manga chapter review. Yo, it's been a while since I did one of those videos. It's been a couple months since the latest chapter that I've reviewed, which was the Black Frieza one, where he just comes and just one-shots everybody like crazy. Yo, if you haven't watched that manga chapter that I did, then please, I implore you to watch that and see my review, see my overall thoughts about the previous arc. Because in this manga chapter, I won't talk much about the events as much as I would talk about the introduction of our new two protagonists. Well, I say new because they're sort of like new characters in this chapter. Like, Goten and Trunks have significantly changed in this manga chapter. So I'll be focusing a lot on some of the choices that Toyotaro has made in this manga chapter and critiquing some of the, I would say, mentality behind these choices and some of the, I would say, changes in my opinion regarding Goten and Trunks, because I have a lot to say and there are a lot of positives that I want to talk about before I start talking about the manga chapter. So here's just a little bit of a story or a background regarding me and regarding my overall thoughts and mentality towards Dragon Ball in general. If you guys aren't interested in hearing these thoughts, you can just skip a little bit where I start to talk about the review or start talking about Goten and Trunks in this manga chapter, because I'd like to talk about them prior to this manga chapter. If you guys have been following my main channel, Mootzy, I've been on YouTube for a couple of years now, maybe 6 years. Yo, it's been a while, and I know I haven't been uploading a lot. But if you guys have been following me ever 2017 to 2016, I was one of the first people, as far as I know, maybe on YouTube platform, maybe some people on Reddit, Quora.com, whatever, they expressed their frustrations, or maybe Facebook. But I was one of the few people, or the first few people, that expressed my overall frustration towards the utilization of Kid Trunks and Kid Goten. I even made 2 videos. The first video was, where is Goten in Dragon Ball Super? And the second video, are Goten and Trunks really useless in Dragon Ball Super? Those videos are not without their merits. I have a lot of criticism towards the Dragon Ball staff, because as I know, Akira Toriyama doesn't have that much involvement in every single character. Maybe he has the storyboard, he has control over maybe some of the big decisions or the major arcs, the theme of the arc, but he doesn't really control every single character and what every single character say and do. That's for the Toei Animation writers, the staff. And as you know, the staff usually don't have that much time to research and do everything for Dragon Ball, because, you know, the staff in Toei Animation, they contribute in many other different animes like One Piece and whatnot. So they don't have that much time as a manga author that really spends all their time just thinking and constructing an entire manga page or entire manga chapter, which was Akira Toriyama used to do back in the day. So the quality deteriorate based on that. And if you compare the movies, the first 13 movies in terms of story quality, compare it to the Dragon Ball Z iteration, you'd see like a major gap in terms of quality. You can see that in Lord of Slug. Lord of Slug, you see Goku the false Super Saiyan. Compare the false Super Saiyan Goku transformation to the Super Saiyan Goku on Namek. It's like light and day. Seriously, like by the way, the false Super Saiyan in the Lord of Slug is basically Toei Animation admitting that's them trying to make the Super Saiyan transformation. Imagine if that was our Super Saiyan transformation. Dragon Ball wouldn't be a legendary series as it was. So this is sort of like my overall frustration with Toei Animation in general. They do things half-assed. They half-ass everything. They do this half-heartedly. So with me, with Toyotaro, I have a lot of hope with him, because he's someone who loves the series. He's someone who spends a lot of time. This is not serialized every single week. This is serialized every single month. So you'd think that the quality should be very high, and you think that Toyotaro has a lot of time to plan and think for what each character would do and say. So here's where Goten and Trunks comes into play in this manga chapter. I think Trunks, how he's portrayed in this manga chapter early on, like, I get the gimmick, I get the puns, how things are funny, but for Trunks to be a superhero, really, have you actually watched Trunks? Trunks is someone who makes fun of superheroes. Like, this would be the opposite. Kid Trunks, it makes sense for him to want to be a superhero or to think superheroes are cool. But for him to be a superhero as sort of like a teenager, But mind you, like the lamest superhero, like the way like these superheroes, the Saiyaman X1 and Saiyaman X2, they make Gohan like look cool in comparison. By the way, I get the goofiness aspects of it, like Mr. Clean, them cleaning. It is funny, by the way. I will admit that it's funny. So in terms of like comedy, Totoro has delivered in terms of the comedy aspect. However, as someone who is a fan of Dragon Ball and understands the character of Trunks, it really doesn't make sense for Trunks to be a superhero. Like maybe Goten, but Trunks, not really. I do like the fact that they have this really funny scene where like Goten says, "Oh, there was an attack earlier today," and it's like, "Oh, where? Let's go." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, it was like identity theft. Money was stolen over the internet. It was a cyber attack." And Trunks is like, "Oh, we can't beat up guys over the internet." So that's really funny. I like that. But in terms of like their motivation to be heroes, it doesn't make sense. I feel like they should have more motivation to train, become stronger, reach Super Saiyan 2, reach Super Saiyan 3, do the fusion, try to fight a new enemy. That makes a lot more sense than them being just, you know, superheroes and like the clean superheroes. I guess they were influenced because they played the video games of the Mr. Clean superhero, which again, premise-wise, it's very funny. But in terms of execution, it doesn't make sense for Trunks to be a superhero. That's all I have to say about that. But despite that, that doesn't mean this arc or this manga chapter doesn't have any good stuff. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of stuff going on. For me, when I was reading this manga chapter, it felt like a long time to get through it because there is so much dialogue in it. I do like the relationship between Goten and Trunks in this manga chapter. It's really nice seeing them as a pair, to be honest. Especially Goten, I do like the development of him to the point where he really does look like a new character. Like he does not look like the Goten that I used to know back in the day. But Trunks looks like Trunks, but he's not behaving like Trunks. There's this scene in the beginning of the chapter where Trunks and Goten confront this robber, and I really like how Totoro never misses when it comes to trying to, I wouldn't say copy. Copy is not the word because he does copy a lot of stuff or pays homages, but he does have these little references or Easter eggs to some characters. So if you notice the robber here, he has the exact same outfit as Super Android 17 from Dragon Ball GT. And this is one of the things that I really like when he pays like little nods to GT, little nods or little references to old stuff that happened. So that's really nice. Also like the part where Trunks is recognized by the cutest baby dinosaur. Like it's really cute to have like a baby dinosaur as a pet, and the baby dinosaur comes to Trunks and it just really likes him because it recognizes Trunks. That's really funny, just much less like any dog that recognizes its owner because of smell. So that was pretty cool and really adorable scene that I really liked in the manga. Again, I also love the little scenes with Dr. Brief and Mrs. Brief talking about how like, oh, kids these days and stuff, and I do like Mrs. Brief and how oblivious she is to everything. Like she's just, I also like how she does not change, like her design does not change to the point, like I really like the fact that in Team 4 Star they kind of theorized that she's a freaking robot because her design never changed since the first time we've seen her in Dragon Ball. So Dr. Brief had to have like some sort of like hand to that. And I like how the fact that he says like, oh, well, Pan's, like they mentioned how Pan has her birthday coming up. So that also shows that this is near, I don't know, her third birthday or fourth birthday, and how he says, oh, we'll buy her an aircraft. And she's like, oh, she doesn't need an aircraft. Plus she could potentially fly. Yeah, so this means that Pan in this iteration of the manga, maybe Dr. Brief and Mrs. Brief don't know that yet, but she can't fly yet. So this could mean that this is a little bit before Dragon Ball Super Hero, because if you remember in Dragon Ball Super Hero, Pan couldn't fly in the beginning of the movie, but in the end of the movie she was able to fly. And there is the introduction of Dr. Hido or Hido. He's here in the manga chapter, which was really nice. He's doing like these little things to try to make money, making androids, and you see Trunks saving his friends, and I really like that, them having like classmates and friends and how the relationships with other people. So it's interesting seeing these little slice of life, sort of like episode, so I'm all for it. I just don't like how Trunks is portrayed as someone who wants to be a hero for some reason, but I guess it could have some sort of payoff. There could be some sort of like payoff for this. Maybe Totoro has like a bigger picture towards what's going to happen. So I really like that, and I really enjoyed that Trunks and Goten have finally, after maybe 5 years, 6 years since I made that video, 2017, that was 5 years ago, I've been crying that Goten and Trunks should take center stage because I criticized the fact that they didn't grow. And the reason why they didn't grow, I urge you to watch that video, is because their characters didn't change. There wasn't much character development. If you remember, Gohan, when he came back from Namek, he trained for 3 years. He waited for his father to come for 1 year, that's 1 year, and for 3 years he trained, so that's a total of 4 years. Since Namek and the Android Saga, the beginning of the Android Saga, Gohan design hardly ever changed. And if you notice, his character didn't change. However, just give him 1 year, he went to the hyperbolic time chamber, he just changed. I know some people are going to use their headcanons. They're going to say it's like, oh, well, Akira Toriyama said, or Totoro said that the Saiyans, they grow a little bit differently. That's true. However, despite that, even if they don't grow differently, in anime generally, the change of appearance is accompanied by a change of personality. So when their personality changed, they indicated that by their design changing. So you know that this is different Goten and Trunks. It would be a little bit confusing if they had the same design and they have different personalities. So that's all to it. There's nothing to it. They could have changed their designs whenever they want. Let's not pretend that Dragon Ball cares so much for the lore. They care so much about consistency. Oh, all of a sudden, like, I really like how Dragon Ball fans, I'm sorry I'm going on a rant right here, but I like how Dragon Ball fans, they like to use that, oh, when it's convenient for them, they use the fact that Toei Animation and the Dragon Ball writers suddenly care about continuity so much, and they use that against you. They criticize you. Oh, well, Dragon Ball really doesn't want to do that, but when you point out that how Dragon Ball goes against their continuity and to make plot holes, oh, suddenly they start using headcanon. So they just use whatever thing it is to be apologetic towards the series. So that's the thing that kind of annoys me about Dragon Ball fans and generally any fan of any series. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't have any problem for Trunks like simping over Mai and just like deciding to go for some coochie instead of his best friend. Like, this dude really simped. He really sold out his friend. He's like, yeah, I didn't buy you, like, I didn't get you tickets. Dude, this dude is part of the richest family. Like, richest family. Think about the connection that Trunks has. And this dude really sold out his best friend for some cooch. So I don't have any problem with that. I actually enjoy having these characters that just want to, like, I'm not saying like Dragon Ball should be a show about just dating and getting girls, but it would be understandable for Goten and Trunks to be at an age where they're interested in having girlfriends, making friends, trying to be accepted in society. It would have been far more impactful if they were trying so hard to just fit in and forget about martial arts. That would be more convincing than just having them become superheroes. Like, it would be interesting to see Trunks and Goten trying so hard to control their powers. Maybe there are school bullies. Maybe Goten is like suffering from school bullies and he's trying so hard not to use his powers. Not to say that he's being bullied. I don't want to say Goten being bullied for an entire manga chapter, but it would be interesting to see him holding back his powers, trying so hard to not exert so much power during like sports. Anyways, I do like the part where Trunks goes Super Saiyan in this manga chapter. That was really fire, seeing the OG Super Saiyan transformation. Can never get tired of that. Especially when you realize he one-shotted one of the androids that are basically created from Dr. Hito, or some of the ghouls that were powered by Dr. Hito's technology, who's even more impressive than his grandfather, Dr. Gero. So that's pretty cool, to be honest. Like I said, my frustration had to spawn from the fact that, you know, Toei Animation in general, the Dragon Ball stuff, including Totoro, some of the weird decisions that they just feel like they neglect some of the stuff that Dragon Ball has already established. Not to say that Trunks, there's no way in hell that Trunks could change, have a different personality, but it just doesn't fit with his character. And I feel like it would have been better if they focused about how like a godlike being, like think about it, you're a godlike being who could basically wipe out the entire planet with a flick of a finger. Like, you're that person, and you have to be confined in school by rules, by regulation, by people talking back at you, by these like social norms, and you're someone who has the power to basically end everything if you just wanted to. So that kind of godlike complex that would be, if it would have been introduced in this series with their lives, I think that would have been much better, because this is one of the things that I wish I saw in the Great Saiyaman Saga. So this is sort of like Great Saiyaman Saga 2.0, which I feel could be done better than the Great Saiyaman Saga, because I feel like Gohan has been nerfed so much for the sake of comedy. So I hope they don't just nerf the characters for the sake of comedy. It really does not create any sort of payoff. It should be the opposite. Make them look super powerful, like idiotically powerful, to the point where it becomes really stupid. It becomes really funny because they're too strong. That would be a lot better than them, you know, the opposite. You nerf them for the sake of just making a couple of jokes. But anyways, it's just me. Let me know what you guys think about the comments. What you guys think about the manga in the comments down below. So yeah, it was me, Moodzy. Back at again with another review. If you'd like this review, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.